Listen to me carefully. There is a season in a woman's life where it seems like everything is silent, no doors opening, no voices calling, no confirmations coming. But let me tell you this, just because heaven is quiet doesn't mean God is absent. Silence is not abandonment, it is preparation. God doesn't shout when he's building, and many of you are misreading your season because you want noise when God is crafting your name into the right door. You don't need many doors. You just need the right one. Now hear me, woman of purpose. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. The problem is you keep checking clocks that God didn't give you. Time is not yours to manage. Obedience is. When you learn to detach from outcomes, when you stop measuring your life based on timelines and external expectations, you step into the rhythm of the kingdom. And in the kingdom, doors are not opened by effort, they are opened by alignment. Stop chasing. Chasing is not noble, it is a declaration of distrust. When you chase what you think you need, you insult the wisdom of the one who already wrote your destiny. Detachment is not indifference, it is discipline. Detachment says, I no longer measure God's love by how fast he moves, but by how perfectly he works. That's why God waits. He waits until you stop idolizing the outcome. He waits until you stop depending on people to validate your journey. He waits until your soul is still enough to hear his direction. The right door cannot open to the wrong version of you. That is why some doors must remain shut until transformation is complete. Because if God opens the door too early, the blessing will become a burden. God is not in a rush. You are. And every time you panic, you delay the process. Let patience finish its work in you. Let confidence rise. Let identity be established. Then the right door won't surprise you. It will recognize you. You were not created to beg. You were created to walk. When you walk in purpose, doors bow. But when you crawl in fear, you begin knocking on doors that were never assigned to your name. Don't force what faith should find. Don't build what obedience should birth. Don't open what God has sealed. Because when God opens a door, no man can shut it. And when God shuts it, no man can open it. So I say to the woman who is weeping because nothing has moved yet, it is not because you are forgotten. It is because the foundation must be strong. God is too wise to give you a platform without first giving you peace. He is too intentional to promote you before he prepares you. And if you would only detach your emotions from the outcome and anchor your heart in the promise, you would realize delay is not a curse. It is the curriculum of divine purpose. The woman who waits well walks strong. She doesn't flinch at silence. She doesn't panic at delay. She doesn't beg for access. She becomes, and when she becomes, heaven responds. When she becomes, the door opens not just for her, but for everyone behind her. Because purpose doesn't open one door, it opens generations. You don't need permission when you have alignment. You are not in a holding pattern. You are in a pruning season. And when the right door opens, it will be because you didn't lose yourself trying to force the wrong one. Trust the timing, trust the silence, trust the pruning, trust the detachment, because God will open the right door for the right women at the right time. Timing is not human driven, it is kingdom governed. This truth is often misunderstood because we live in a world that measures progress by minutes, hours, and deadlines. But God does not operate by human calendars. He operates by eternal purpose. What you call a delay, heaven calls preparation. What you think is late, God calls on time. He is not moved by urgency. He is moved by completion. When God looks at your life, he doesn't ask, is she ready by the world's standard? He asks, is she aligned with my purpose? Too many women miss divine appointments because they are measuring destiny with the wrong instruments. They compare themselves to others. They let culture dictate what should have been accomplished by a certain age. But the kingdom does not rush, the kingdom matures. And maturity doesn't always look like movement, it looks like formation. So when you don't see doors opening, it doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means God is building something in you that time cannot measure. When God says wait, it's not because he's withholding, it's because he's arranging. He's orchestrating events, people and places to converge at a specific moment that has been prepared just for you. A kingdom-governed timeline is not based on convenience, but on divine convergence. That's why you must not panic when the timeline shifts. God is not late. He is strategic. He is sovereign. And if you stay submitted to his pace, you will see that he never intended to disappoint you. He intended to develop you. This is why emotional and spiritual detachment is crucial. When your emotions try to race ahead, your spirit must anchor you in God's timing. You must learn to rest, not in time, but in truth. Because time bows to truth, and truth is God's schedule. A woman who waits on God is not passive. She is preparing. Waiting in the kingdom is never about doing nothing. It is about doing the right thing at the right time. The world has taught women that if they're not visibly moving, they're falling behind. But in God's economy, movement without purpose is wasted energy. Waiting on God is one of the most powerful postures a woman can take, because it requires trust, discipline, and vision. It means you are choosing not to act out of pressure, but out of revelation. When a woman waits on God, she's not standing still. She is growing. She is shedding false identities. She is healing from wounds that would sabotage her next season. She is being trained in private for a public assignment. The waiting season is where God removes the noise, corrects the foundation, and strengthens the roots. This is not passivity. This is preparation under the hand of the master builder. To the untrained eye, she may look idle. But in the spirit, heaven sees a warrior being sharpened, a queen being crowned, a vessel being refined. There's nothing weak about waiting. Weakness is when you rush. Weakness is when you panic. Weakness is when you compromise because you're tired of the silence. But strength, real strength, is when you wait with purpose. You wait while worshiping. You wait while walking in obedience. That kind of waiting invites favor, not frustration. When a woman waits on God, she positions herself to recognize the right door when it opens. She doesn't settle because she knows what she's worth. She doesn't chase because she knows what belongs to her. Her waiting has made her wise. Her preparation has made her powerful. And when the right time comes, she will not be surprised. She will be ready. Detachment from outcomes is evidence of trust in divine order. It is the fruit of a soul that has matured beyond needing to control everything. When a woman learns to let go of how things should happen, when they should happen, and who they should happen with, she is not giving up. She is growing up. She is learning to exchange anxiety for alignment, pressure for peace, and worry for worship. This detachment is not apathy, it is authority. It is not rooted in coldness, but in clarity. To detach emotionally and spiritually from outcomes is to say, I trust that what God has for me will not miss me. It is the quiet confidence that you don't need to manipulate moments to feel secure. You don't need to cling to people, positions, or promises to feel whole, because your wholeness is not tied to what happens. It is tied to who holds the future. That level of trust is not built overnight. It is forged in the fire of disappointments, unanswered prayers, and delayed dreams. And it is in those very moments that God reveals the outcome was never the prize. Obedience is. This is where true strength is born. A woman who is emotionally detached from the outcome is not cold, she is committed. Committed to God's way, to God's will, and to God's timing. She doesn't let rejection shake her identity. She doesn't let delay disturb her direction. She understands that detachment is not a loss of desire, but a gain in discernment. She can walk away from the wrong door without bitterness. She can endure the silence without losing her song, because her hope is not in what might happen. It is in who has already written her story. And that makes her unstoppable. Every closed door is protection, not punishment. It may not feel like it in the moment, but when God closes a door, he is saving you from something you cannot yet see. Too many times we interpret rejection as failure, when in reality it is divine redirection. You may cry over the door that didn't open, but one day you will thank God it didn't. Because some doors lead not to destiny, but to distraction. Some doors carry hidden traps behind glamorous frames. And only a loving father would dare to close a door his daughter is not ready to discern. Closed doors are not a sign that you are not worthy. They're a sign that God is too wise to let you settle. He sees the end from the beginning, and he knows that what you think you want could crush you if it arrives too soon or in the wrong form. That's why he interrupts your plans. That's why he allows silence to speak louder than approval, because he knows that favor can become a snare when character is not yet formed. The door you wanted may have led to applause, but not anointing. It may have offered attention, but not assignment. God doesn't bless ambition. He blesses alignment. And when a door slams shut, he's not trying to hurt you. He's trying to heal you from needing what was never meant to define you in the first place. He closes doors to reintroduce you to yourself, to the woman you're becoming, not the one you were pretending to be to fit in. If you can learn to see closed doors as covered doors, you stop panicking and start praising, because behind every shut entrance is the hand of a God who knows exactly where you're going and what must not go with you. Purpose attracts alignment. Alignment opens doors. The woman who is rooted in her divine purpose does not have to chase opportunity. Opportunity begins to recognize her. When you walk in purpose, you become magnetic in the spirit. You begin to attract the right people, the right moments, the right seasons, not by force, but by... This is the principle of divine alignment. When you know who you are, why you are, and who sends you, the path begins to unfold before you without the striving that wears out so many souls. Many are seeking open doors without seeking alignment. But God does not respond to need. He responds to purpose. He doesn't open doors because you're desperate. He opens them because you're ready, and readiness comes from alignment. You cannot walk in alignment while being distracted by comparison, competition, or compromise. Alignment is costly. It requires focus, pruning, humility, and trust. But once you're in alignment, you stop knocking on every door, hoping one will open. You begin to walk past doors until the one marked with your assignment opens effortlessly. Purpose is a filter. It helps you say no without guilt. It helps you wait without anxiety. It helps you discern what looks good but isn't God. The more you align with your divine calling, the more clarity you carry. And clarity leads to confidence, not arrogance, but authority. That authority is what opens doors no man can shut. Because heaven does not respond to panic, it responds to precision. You don't need to manipulate your way into spaces you were never designed for. You need to align yourself with the one who wrote your destiny. When alignment is present, favor flows naturally. Doors don't open because you pushed. They open because you showed up carrying the fragrance of purpose. Emotional maturity is the gateway to divine promotion. Until your emotions are under control, your destiny remains under restriction. God will not elevate a woman who is still ruled by reactions, who is easily offended, unstable in conviction, and dependent on external validation. Emotional maturity is not about submitting your feelings, it's about submitting them to a higher authority. It's the ability to respond with wisdom instead of reacting with wounds. It's the strength to walk away without bitterness, without complaining, to serve without seeking attention. Because the reason many doors remain closed is not because you're not gifted, it's because you're not grounded. God is not testing your skill, he's testing your soul. Can you be trusted with favor without becoming prideful? Can you endure correction without becoming defensive? Can you remain steady when you're unseen and uncelebrated? These are not small questions. They are the questions that determine your capacity for the next level. God promotes according to maturity, not potential. Potential impresses people, but maturity qualifies you in the kingdom. A woman who is emotionally mature can handle delay without depression. She can endure betrayal without vengeance. She can be trusted with secrets, remain silent when necessary, and lead without needing to be praised. This kind of woman is rare and powerful because heaven knows that when she speaks, she's not driven by insecurity, but by truth. Your emotional state either attracts or repels divine opportunities. If you're still controlled by mood swings, fear, jealousy, or impulsiveness, God in his mercy will hold back promotion until healing has taken place. Promotion without healing is sabotage. Elevation without preparation is exposure. But once emotional maturity is formed, doors will open not just because you're gifted, but because you are whole enough to carry what's behind them with grace and wisdom. The right door requires the right identity. Know who you are. Identity is the foundation upon which destiny is built. If you don't know who you are, you will walk into the wrong rooms, say yes to the wrong opportunities, and attach yourself to things that were never assigned to you. God is not just preparing doors for you, he is preparing you for the doors, and before he opens anything significant in your life, he demands clarity about your identity. Because doors don't open based on desire, they open based on design. You cannot carry confusion into your calling. Confusion breeds compromise. A woman who is unclear about her identity will settle for imitation. She will mimic others, chase relevance, and lose authenticity. But the woman who knows who she is doesn't need applause to feel affirmed. She doesn't need a platform to feel powerful. Her identity is not wrapped in titles, followers, or approval. It is rooted in revelation. And that revelation unlocks doors no human key can open. Before Jesus began his public ministry, the Father declared, "This is my beloved Son." Identity came before assignment. Likewise, before you walk through any significant door in life, God will establish your identity. He will strip away the false layers, the broken labels, and the cultural expectations that have distorted your self-perception. Why? Because the door will test your identity. If you're unsure of who you are, success will seduce you, criticism will crush you, and comparison will consume you. The right door requires the right version of you, whole, healed, and heaven-minded. You cannot fake spiritual authority. You cannot pretend your way into divine placement. You must become the woman who fits the door you're praying for. And that becoming starts with identity, knowing exactly who you are, who you're not, and who sent you. When you are desperate, you negotiate your worth. When you trust, you walk in authority. Desperation is a dangerous place for a woman of purpose. It clouds judgment, distorts discernment, and causes you to chase things that are beneath your value. Desperation makes you settle for unhealthy relationships, toxic environments, and assignments that are outside your calling. It convinces you to shrink just to be accepted, to remain silent just to be liked, and to compromise just to feel seen. But anything you gain through desperation, you will have to maintain through fear. A woman who knows her worth does not move from anxiety. She moves from authority. And that authority comes from trust. trust in God's timing, trust in his provision, and trust in the identity he placed inside of her. Trust allows you to say no to good things while waiting for God things. It empowers you to walk away from what looks like opportunity but smells like manipulation. It gives you peace in silence and confidence in obscurity. Desperation causes you to knock on every door, hoping one will open. Trust teaches you to stand still until the right door recognizes you. Desperation performs to be noticed. Trust rests, knowing that what is assigned to you cannot miss you. That kind of trust is powerful. It's not lazy. It's not passive. It is faith in action, a bold, quiet conviction that says, if God said it, I don't need to beg for it. Negotiation ends where revelation begins. When you understand who you are and whose you are, you stop offering discounts on your destiny. You stop auditioning for roles you were born to rule. Trust keeps you dignified. Trust keeps you positioned. And trust draws divine favor, not by striving. The right opportunity is never rushed. It recognizes your readiness. In the kingdom of God, nothing is forced. Divine doors do not open through manipulation or pressure. They open through preparation. When the right opportunity is truly from God, it will not demand that you compromise who you are. It will not ask you to shrink your values, ignore your convictions, or accelerate your process. God's timing is tied to your maturity, not your impatience. And when you are ready, the opportunity will find you. Because what is appointed to you is drawn to the version of you that is complete, not the one that is still conforming. Many women miss their moment because they try to rush into rooms they're not equipped to stay in. They confuse ambition with anointing. But in the spirit, timing is everything. There is a season where God conceals you, not because you're not worthy, but because he's still forming you. Rushing into visibility before you're rooted is dangerous. When you're rushed, you rely on performance. When you're ready, you rest in purpose. The right opportunity knows your name. It is divinely scheduled. It will not need to be chased. It will align when your character matches your calling. You won't have to pretend or push. You'll simply present who you've become through obedience. That is why you must embrace the hidden seasons. You must embrace the discipline, the waiting, the preparation, because God is never late, and neither is your assignment. When you are truly ready, the opportunity will not overwhelm you, it will affirm you. You'll recognize it not by its glamour, but by its confirmation. It will carry peace, clarity, and alignment. It will call out your purpose, not your insecurity. And in that moment, you won't have to question if it's yours. You'll know, because preparation always meets opportunity in divine timing. God's delay is not denial. It is divine development. When God withholds something, it's never without purpose. Delay is the classroom where greatness is forged. It is the place where God refines your motives, deepens your roots, and aligns your heart with his will. While the world may interpret delay as rejection, heaven sees it as construction. The delay is not working against you, it's working in you. Because God is far more concerned with who you're becoming than how fast you're getting there. Delay reveals what convenience hides. It exposes impatience, tests faith, and confronts pride. It challenges you to trust God's character even when you don't see his hand. It demands that you hold on to the promise without evidence, to believe when nothing around you looks like breakthrough. And it is in that place where everything is silent and still that true intimacy with God is born. That's where dependency deepens. That's where character is carved. That's where you stop chasing outcomes and start embodying obedience. If God gave you what you wanted when you first asked, he might have destroyed you. You were not ready then. You may not even be ready now. But God is not ignoring you. He is maturing you, because premature promotion can become a prison. He loves you too much to let you walk into a season that your soul cannot sustain. So he delays. And in that delay, He sharpens your discernment. He purifies your desire. He prepares the people, places, and provision that will be necessary for your purpose. Delay is a signal that something greater is being formed. It is divine evidence that God is still writing, still shaping, still aligning. And when the moment is right, when the development is done, God will release what He's prepared for you without struggle, without striving, and without sorrow. So hear me clearly. The waiting, the silence, the closed doors, the unanswered prayers, they are not signs that God has forgotten you. They are proof that He is preparing you. You are not being overlooked. You are being overbuilt. He is strengthening your foundation so that when the right door opens, you won't just walk through it, you'll own it. This is not the time to break down in doubt. This is the time to stand up in faith. Detach from what you thought it had to be and trust that what God has planned is far greater than anything you could imagine. You are not waiting for a door. You are becoming the woman the door is waiting for. And when that moment comes, you won't need to knock. The door will open because it was always yours